Welcome back, Mr. Witness. Mr. Witness, for continuation of your testimony before this Commission of Inquiry into Local Government Councils and related matters, I want to remind you that you are still under oath before I hand you over to Madam Chair for us to proceed. Thank you. Madam Chair, over to you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bachily. You're welcome back. Council, you may proceed.
I'm having problems I wanted to make a rectification. I don't know if it's fine by you. In response to a question that you earlier on asked.
Which one?
With regards to the Fatumbenga issue, the monies.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you that the NECOM contribution for Banjul was also part of that.
The what?
NECOM.
Okay.
Was also part of it.
Was also part of it.
Yes. So I just felt as
those monies were paid by way of impress, right?
yes.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. And I have the acknowledgement letter from the Banjul Sports Committee.
Oh, okay. Okay. Whatever you have, you can make that available to us.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Council, you may proceed.
Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Bachily, we were just trying to conclude on the issue regarding the authority for expenditure. You have said to the Commission that there was no procedure or the dictates of the manual regarding the limit for the CEO, that of the mayors, and that of council, whether it exists by way of resolution. You know, that does not exist, you said.
Yeah.
Right. And the accounts of council, how many accounts did you keep from 2018 to 2023? If there are ones that were opened and closed, can you tell us, please, which ones were closed at some point, why they were closed, if any, and new accounts that were opened, why they were opened, and how they were opened?
Okay, from 2018, in the later part of 2018,
right,
Council decided to maintain two active accounts.
right,
One at the Sahel Bank,
yes,
and another one at the Trust Bank.
from 2018 to?
From 2018 onwards, yeah.
Onwards?
Yeah.
Just two accounts?
Yeah, active. The ones that we are working with on a daily basis.
One with Sahel and?
Sahel and Trust Bank.
Right. And then, that's just it.
And then I think we closed that of the Standard Bank.
Okay.
And we kept inactive that of the Guarantee Trust Bank.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, to Mega Bank.
Mega Bank too.
Yeah.
All right. Now.
But, Lead Counsel.
Yes.
I want to remind you, because I told you that there were some instances in which expenditures.
Yes.
I made interventions in terms of expenditures.
In which?
I made some interventions in terms of some proposed expenditure.
You made some interventions?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I go ahead?
Of course.
All right. The first one I could vividly remember was, when the Lord Mayor was supposed to go to Kenya, Nairobi,
right,
for the Raffaele election.
Yes.
She made proposals for the council to
right,
pay some of the staff members in terms of their transportation.
Yes.
I declined. So,
why?
Because I thought that we should not pay it.
Why?
Because those people were not council members.
They were Raffaele members?
Yes.
They were not council members?
Yes.
And that was the reason?
Yes, so she eventually got sponsorship through the President and the Ministry of Finance.
But we have seen instances wherein you have made the same payments for Raffaele members. How do you reconcile the two?
Those were the internal expenses within the country.
Within the country?
Yes.
So you haven't paid any allowance outside the country?
No.
What is the difference? Because within the country, they are still not council members.
Yeah, but then going outside in terms of buying air tickets, you're talking of some bigger amounts.
But again, within the Gambia too, they have incurred so much expenses when they are not in fact council members. So how do you reconcile your answer to the fact that the reason why you rejected it was because they were council members, and you have paid similar payments when they were still not council members?
Yeah, like I said, the payments that were made locally, as compared to like paying air tickets and paying per diems, is way away from each other.
When I asked you, you said the reason is because they were not council members, correct?
Yeah.
When they traveled within the Gambia too, they were not council members as well?
No, they are not council members, no.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that reason alone you cannot back it up, because then you have made some payments. We have had evidence of payments made to Raffaella members, and they were not council members, and then so payments were still done.
Yeah, but to some extent, those payments were based on like the memorandum of understanding that we had with them.
Does the memorandum of understanding say that if the trip is outside the Gambia, then they should not pay?
It doesn't mention so. But then normally with council, for all travels outside of the country,
Yes.
it was customary that you only pay for people who are working actively for the council in terms of air tickets and per diems outside of the country.
We will get to Raffaella, and we will discuss that.
And then I have 3.
Yes.
And then the other one was the annual Navetans
Right.
that we sponsor.
Right.
So it's like I can remember on 2 occasions,
Right.
I was not willing for us to pay everything in terms of the hosting of the Navetan.
Why?
I just thought that we should not do it.
Why?
We shouldn't.
Yeah, but
Because
why?
by the end of the day, the committee itself should be in a position to lobby, at least to some extent, some of the funds that they needed to host the tournaments.
Yeah, yes, that's true. But if it is within the budget and it's a lawful payment, why would you say no to that?
Yeah, that's what I've just explained, based on the fact that since they were a committee, and it is not only, the Banjul City Council, of course, is their host, but then since it was a committee,
Right.
and we were not privy to some of the financial sponsorships that they used to have.
Right.
So based on that, we just felt that we should not be in a position to host, to pay
No, but-
all in terms of their
No,
hosting
but you have
costs.
given monies for Islamic gatherings and Christian gatherings to Hanafala as well, when they have committees that can provide for themselves.
Yeah, but those are religious establishments,
But what's the difference?
because they are religious establishments.
But why is it different?
In theory, yes, they are not different, but in practice, since they are religious affairs,
Why is it different from social cohesion gatherings?
it makes a lot of difference.
But I am not trying to say one is more important than the other. I'm not here for that. I am saying that your excuse or your reason is because they have committees and they should be able to raise funds and so on and so forth. I'm just saying these establishments too, they have organized structure and therefore they can raise funds. That is no reason why you can have a very organized institution, but still they seek for donation. So the yardstick would not be, the constitution would not be because they are Islamic group or Nametan group or Christian group, so therefore they must have a committee and they should fund them. No, the consideration should be, is this within the budget? Is it budgeted for? Do we have finances for this? Is it not going to affect our other high-ranking priorities? This should be the consideration, and not whether they have a committee to raise funds or not. You see where I'm driving at?
Yeah, very well.
Yeah, so that should be the consideration. As CEO, this is what you look at. You look at the financial manual. You look at what you should consider. You look at whether it is in line with budgetary allocations. You look at whether finances are present. Can you pay salaries? If you pay that, the answer is yes. Perhaps. Do you have more pertinent issues to solve? Are there health hazards that you should really address? Have you paid? Have you talked about constructing a health center, schools, teachers being paid, municipal police, dump site, day-to-day activities that are more perhaps urgent than what you are paying for? That's what you should consider.
I buy that idea.
Yeah, not because they have a committee. They may have a committee, but they may not have funds. And they may need your support genuinely. So again, we familiarize ourselves with our rules and where our rights and responsibilities stop. Now, you will need all details of the accounts that were kept and closed, and the opening and closing accounts, if any, of all the accounts that were kept by council from 2018 to 2023. The Banjul EU Ostend, BCC EU Ostend project, have accounts kept too? Do you have?
Yes.
How many accounts?
Initially, we started with Sahel Bank, but eventually we included EcoBank.
Okay, who were the signatories?
The signatories were myself, Mulu Kamara, and Mohamed Cham.
Okay. Were the funds of the EU project funds of council?
Yes, because they're grants.
Grants, thank you. And so the funds of council are to be managed by the CEO and the finance director?
Yes.
Okay. And so the two of you would be signatories to the funds of council?
Yeah, but we are three.
Yes. Now, for the EU project, you were the signatory and the finance director?
Yeah.
Correct?
At some point.
Right. And at some point, the finance director was removed from the steering committee?
Yes.
Why?
Because the rationale was that Mohamed Cham, was seconded to the project from PCC when the first finance manager of the project resigned.
Who is the first finance manager of the project?
It's called Ndei Toure.
Ndei Toure.
Yeah.
Was she signing checks for expenditure?
Before.
Together with you as the CEO?
When he was there, yeah.
He was signing checks?
Yeah.
When the finance director was around?
Yeah.
Is that proper? Good practice?
Maybe not the best practice.
So why would you do that?
Well, we had three signatories,
right,
and it depended at times on the circumstances.
What kind of circumstances?
Availability. At times, one could be away, and then the other could sign. That was the rationale behind adding, an additional signatory.
Now, the finance director should sign in the finance department. Yeah, correct?
Yeah.
We have received a correspondence wherein the finance director was removed from the steering committee. Is that correct?
Yeah, after the first dissolution, yes.
Why was he removed?
Because the rationale was that, you cannot have two of them all representing the council, both the finance manager who was on secondment and himself.
The rationale was what?
We had Cham, who was seconded from the council,
right,
to be with the project.
Right. But the finance director was the one signing the checks before.
Yeah.
And you guys had an issue with the finance director?
Issue?
Yes. There was a period that you had to take $900,000 for him to sign off, and he refused. You recall this?
Yeah, but the interesting part of it is that what was the $900,000 specifically for?
No.
Because I heard him saying that.
We will reach that. We will reach to that point. Did you take to the finance director $900,000 for him to sign, and he refused?
I don't remember this.
Come again?
I don't think I remember.
You cannot remember?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember taking $900 for him to sign?
No, I
He has
don't
been
remember.
confirmed by your finance manager, Cham.
I am talking about myself
I
personally.
know.
Yeah.
I'm saying there is no room for you to forget, because if he had said it, that we should have.
The reason why I'm saying so is because I cannot relate what expenditure was it for.
No, the issue is he was only removed because he was not cooperating. That is a fact.
That was part of it, yes.
Yes.
That
Now
was
we
part
want you to explain to us the problem with the finance manager that would result to you removing the finance manager from being the signatory. He said in his statement, and this he repeated in evidence, the second page of the statement of the 14th of August 2023, the last paragraph, the last 3 lines or 4. Before this disbanding of the original steering committee, I refused to sign a check of $900,000 for visibility, and that could have been the only crime I committed for the total dissolution of the committee and its subsequent replacement with another one with me, and as key as my roles are and responsibilities as Director of Finance were concerned and ignored with impunity. Is this a fact?
I think that was his opinion.
I'm now putting to you his opinion for you to react. Is that not
Yes.
fair enough?
So what I have to say to that is that, first of all, he was not the only person who was removed from the first steering committee.
We didn't say that he was the only person.
The director of administration was also removed.
We are not concerned about that administration. This is a guy who is mandated by law to sign checks and authorize expenditure together with you to check and to be a check and balance to your powers as CEO. The guy that can tell you, no, I am not going to sign this check because it is not in line with accounting policies. That's why he is important. He can tell you, no, I am not signing the check because it appears fraudulent, or I don't trust this process because it is not genuine. Can he do that?
As a form of check and balance, yes.
Oh, good. That is why it is important. The Director of Administration cannot do that. He has no power to do that. Does not even discuss the disbursement of funds in this manner. Now, was his statement correct or false?
I don't agree to it.
Good. Now why did you not agree to it?
I don't agree to it because,
go ahead.
yeah, because in the simple sense that, first of all, I just cannot still relate to this $900,000 visibility.
You had a visibility allocation
Yes.
that you wanted to sign a check for.
That I remember, yeah.
Yes, to sign a check for. No, not budget allocation. I mean, you had a meeting. Mr. Cham discussed this in the meeting, in the commission, the finance manager, that the finance director was not willing to sign this check. He corroborated the evidence of the finance director. He said even the steering committee members, upon the refusal of the finance director to sign this $900,000 check for visibility, the committee members were not pleased, or were perhaps disoriented, sorry. And I asked why. He said because perhaps they may think it is not in line. It's not proper. So this is your finance manager confirming that. Do you understand that?
Can I come in?
Yes, of course.
All right. Okay. What I'm saying here is, first of all, especially during those days,
Yes.
we never used to initiate payments on our own. Payments were initiated by the project team itself, and then eventually brought to us for endorsement, mostly to me.
Who comprised of the project team?
The project team had the project coordinator and the project manager,
Right.
the director, the finance manager.
Yes. They make request.
They make requests.
Yes. It's a requisition.
Yes.
There is request.
Yeah.
But then the request has to be scrutinized By who?
By
The chief executive officer.
Yes, yes,
The chief custodian of the accounts of council.
yes,
Is that not the case?
yes.
Together with the finance director.
Yep.
So let's forget about the team. Now the request is here. Now your job is to see the legality or the lawfulness or the genuineness of the payment. That's what we are discussing now. $900,000 for visibility. What kind of visibility is that?
I am still, for me, I'm still, if I could kindly see maybe the correspondence, I can make a recall.
It is not.
But what I'm saying here is, the project team, they make their request for payments to be made.
You had a letter. Let me show you. Let me show you exhibit LGC/BCC/MCC -005. I don't know whether it's MCC or not. MC bracket 1 005. It says the first letter is 8 of February 2022, and the same another letter, the same date as well. The topic is subject is refusal to sign project checks from the Director of Finance to the Chief Executive Officer, addressed to the Finance Director. The first one reads, it reads from you, I am of the belief that you are really sounding. There's a letter before this one. There's one letter before this. No. There's a document for himself to sign checks before this. But it reads, I am of the belief that you are really sounding illogical about the above subject matter. Yes, the first one you sent reads, I write to officially inquire from you about the refusal to sign project checks. This tantamount to delays in the project's implementation. You wrote another one the same date, 8 of February 2022. I am of the belief that you are really sounding illogical about the above subject matter, as you have rightly mentioned, in the absence of any resolution to be passed by the General Council relating to the downsizing of the present project steering committee makes you still eligible to sign the checks pending an official instructions to hand over to the finance manager of the project. You understand this? Now, a letter written to you by the Director of Finance, same date, I wish to refer to you as a resolution of the steering committee meeting and minister as chairman of the finance and procurement subcommittee must never sign any check until when the said committee sits and vets them. This is my position till a new resolution replaces it for probity, efficiency, and attainment of project goals. Now I will show you these documents. Do you remember those correspondences?
Yeah, I remember now.
Okay, please tell us about those communications between you and the finance director. When you wrote to him concerning his refusal to sign checks, is that not the $900,000 that you requested to be signed by way of visibility? He even described the moment that you came and you were in your vehicle, and when they came, he would not sign. You came with the check, and you had to try to talk to him to sign the check, and he refused. And you are very angry.
But lead counsel,
Right.
those could be just stories. It's possible, because my question is, I'm still going back to the fact that we employed a team for the project.
Mr. Bachily,
We employ the
Can
team.
you explain to us
That's what
the
I'm trying to.
circumstances surrounding those communications with you, between you and the finance director?
That is what I'm trying to do.
Please go
If you
ahead.
could kindly allow me. So what I'm saying here is, we had a team to take care of the project. So now if they come with a proposal to spend on visibility or things of that nature, we assumed that they did the needful to come and have their program
You
implemented.
assume they have done the needful.
Yes.
And what would be the needful?
By making sure that, what they're asking for, first is in line with the project.
So you assume that.
The project's budget.
So you are assuming.
But still, as you were earlier on saying, it was still subject to being scrutinized.
Sadly, so you cannot assume that.
So, but my problem is, okay, even if the former finance director said he wasn't agreeing to sign to the check, the reason why it did not go down well with me is because he did not say why.
No. See,
Just refusing to sign a check alone brought to you is not enough.
It's enough.
No.
Because he thought you did not follow due process. You know how expenditure should be done. We have the manual here, and we will visit it again, and you will agree with me that what you have, how you were spending the funds of council, even in the project, is not in line with procurement process and the financial manual. You will visit it. I'm just telling you, I'm just bringing these things up for you to know what we are discussing. But you and I know you can't just bring a check to the finance director and expect him to sign. There must be supporting documents. He must know that you are not withdrawing the monies from the council coffers for fraudulent practices. He has to be careful about that. If he's not satisfied, if he does not want to sign and all documents are present, you can query that. Did you query that?
But would the project team, to my imagination, would the project team want us to spend a sum of that magnitude without giving us supporting documents?
They have done that several times. In the EU project, you had made several expenditures, hired some contractors without following due process.
That was the initial period.
It doesn't matter.
No, sir, can I just make this clarification?
Go ahead.
Initially, with the project, we were pursuing with what they call this European Union Prague rules.
Yeah.
So for the like for the coconuts, for the seedlings, if I could recall, and for the sheds along the beach, we assumed that they were going with the Prague rules.
No, you know, when I asked you the funds of council, you rightly mentioned grants, donations. You gladly mentioned this. See, you know that these monies, once they're in, they are monies of council. And there are guidelines, there are regulations as to how it should be expended. This you knew already. Your job was to follow what you know and not what you think. That was your job. It was very simple. Do what the book said you should do. And you would have been here aiding the commission with very positive answers because you would have done your job perfectly well. That's the reality. Mr.
Can I?
Yes, of course.
All right. The reason why I'm saying so is because the project, if you could recall, had some element of participation from an EU perspective.
Right.
All right. And they also have their own procurement rules. So initially, like I said, I think I'm also going to be very explicit on that. Initially, there were 3 or 4 out of the whole lot that they used these so-called Prague rules. Yeah? It went to the point whereby I sat together with the director of planning. We said, look, maybe perhaps it's best that, like, we let these people to understand that
Yes.
we should now strictly follow those of GPPA.
Yes.
Because we are always going to Parliament, FPAC, and if we ever go there and start explaining to them
Yes.
that, our procurements were based on a system that we did not understand,
Yes.
we did not understand the PAC rules. So I think eventually that led to the project having all other procurements arising from the project being made to
Mr.
go through GPPA
Bachily.
lines.
Mr. Bachily, to start with, you did not follow any PRAC rules. But we will welcome you to provide all the documentations to that effect for all the projects you had followed the PRAC rules and the steps you had followed. We will welcome that. Number two, Mr. Bachily, the project does not have an EU component in the aspect of the expenditure of the project funds. It does not have any. These were monies by way of grants from the EU, and that's where they stop. You see, the Finance and Audit Act, Local Government Finance and Audit Act 12 is very clear on the revenue and funds of council. You had said it clearly yourself. It says on section 4, the revenue and funds of a council include all sums of money or funds accruing to a council. Without prejudice to the generality of section 1, the revenue and funds of a council consist of A, monies derived from the rates imposed by the council under or pursuant to the provisions of this act. B, local taxes. C, monies payable to a council under the provisions of any other enactment. D, monies derived from licensing, permits, dues, charges, fees, or royalties. E, receipts derived from any public utility concern or any service or undertaking belonging to or maintained by a council, either in whole or in part. F, rents derived from the letting of letting or leasing of any building or land belonging to a council. And G, project funds, donations, and grants, all done from general revenue. Do you understand that?
Yes.
It's very clear. When I asked you, you even answered it in no unequivocal terms.
But if you look at lead council, if you look at the project agreement itself, there is a component which says that if there is a clash in terms of procurement matters, the PRAC rules stands.
Yes.
But then
let me tell you one thing. If there is a conflict of any rule or law that is outside the rules or laws in the Gambia, the laws of the Gambia will stand. So if you sign that agreement and write anything in any agreement, that is you being ill-advised, not having the correct advice. So I will not dwell into that. I haven't seen the agreement. By the way, can you even provide that agreement?
The EU project agreement?
Yes.
Yes, I should be able to provide.
Yes, please write it down.
But then coming back to earlier on what I was saying, I was expecting that if somebody wants to use that as the yardstick of saying, because of the refusal of that check, that's why you are removed. What was the observation arising from the check that was supposed to have been paid?
Let me now ask you, why was that of finance removed?
Which is why I didn't understand why he was removing.
The CEO, you were here. Why was that of finance removed from the steering committee and in effect removing him from signing checks? Why was that the case? Now you have the opportunity.
Now, my rationale as at that time.
Your rationale?
Yes. Was first the fact that, like I explained, we had the finance manager of BCC
right.
seconded
right.
to the project.
Right.
And then having both of them seated in the steering committee,
yes.
it did not make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
It did not.
Were you in the steering committee?
I was the chairman.
Was it that of admin in the steering committee?
The first one?
Yes.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yes.
My friend, then this one makes sense.
No.
Why? Why? The that of admin is your immediate deputy.
As the local government act says.
You're going by law. We are
Yes.
going by law here.
Yes.
Yes. The head of admin is your immediate deputy.
Yes.
The head of finance is immediate deputy of the head of the finance manager is the immediate deputy of the head of finance.
To buttress on that point, as I said earlier, the reason why I'm saying so is because at that time, especially getting to 21, 22,
Yes.
council had a lot of issues to be dealt with financially.
Let's talk about the removal that makes sense and the one that doesn't make sense.
For me,
You were there with your deputy, he was there with his deputy. Now, why would it make sense in one and not make sense in the other?
that's the reason why all of them went out.
No, but listen, it doesn't make sense. You know what doesn't make sense? The deputy. When it comes to the finance department, you remove the number 1.
Yes?
When it comes to your department, you remove the number 2. Remove yourself. Let the data admin deputize you there. You have a whole area council to run.
But I was the chairperson.
But now let the data admin be the chairperson. Why is it written that you must be the chairperson? You can be deputized.
Yes?
Yes.
That's the reason why it was important.
Now allow him
initially.
to be there, the data admin be there, and you can now focus on other more important issues as well of council's general progress. This is only one project, very important, but one component of what council should engage in. You have very, very busy office. Have your deputy be there.
That's the reason why eventually both of them were removed.
No, I'm saying, if you remove the number 2, have the purpose of removing number 1, have the purpose of removing number 1s, and you yourself will focus on council as a way of general oversight officer. You can even be an oversight function to the steering committee, you and the director of finance separate from the steering committee. Remove yourself. You have removed the number 1 in the other department. Remove yourself. You would not do that. You know why? You know why you don't do that? Because you have to have control. And this guy was giving you problems. So you wrote those letters. There was a problem. You called his refusal to sign as something being illogical. And so you needed someone to be logical who will sign the checks for you. Hence, he wrote in his memo to the CEO on the 3rd of January 2023 with respect to interference in my work as work rules and responsibilities. You understand that? In the last part, he said, I refuse to sign a check of $900,000 raised by Mamla Jase, EU project coordinator, and Alvicini Gano, the then project manager on visibility activities. Again, this is confirmed by the finance manager. This was conceived by you as not a team player status and led to the disbanding of the EU project initial steering committee, and I was replaced in the signatory category by the project finance officer, Mohamed Cham. To this day, I was equally expelled from the new steering committee under your care and guidance. For you as CEO, breaking the law and getting away with it is your strongest point. The laws said that the director of finance shall be a signatory to all accounts, and in this case, I was not, and I became business as usual. Look at the finance and audit manual for local government authorities. He accused you of interference and said clearly that what your actions were contrary to the rules and regulations that he should be the signatory, a signatory to the account. Was he right in saying that your actions were not in line with financial regulations because he has to sign the checks?
Okay, if we
You haven't answered the question yet. Answer the question, and then you can proceed with your explanation.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll agree with that.
Exactly.
I have no problems. I'll agree with that. But
Yes.
then, I'm also still asking this question.
Right.
If you refuse to sign something that's prepared by a project team,
Yes.
brought to us, I was of the opinion that,
Right.
for example,
Right.
if something was brought to me to be signed,
Yes.
and I have my objections,
Yes.
I think I should be in a position to bring clearly those objections to the attention of everybody.
True.
So that at least we'll know that, okay, I'm not signing these checks
Right.
because I have observed A, B, C,
Right.
and E.
I agree. Did you do that yourself?
You understand? But if at all, that's the reason why I did all these writings.
I agree, but did you do that yourself?
No, that is not for me. That is for the individual who should have come to sign the checks.
When you,
and then said that he would not sign them for maybe reasons best known to him.
when you took a check of $900,000 to him, did you tell him what it is for? Did you provide the supporting documents necessary for him to make a decision? Did you do that?
I will not assume that we will send a check of 900,000.
Only a check was taken.
Only a check.
Yes. No supporting documents whatsoever, no legality for. The finance manager said here openly that even the steering committee members were very skeptical when the Director of Finance refused, because of they might have thought it was not in line.
That could be questioned whether that was the case. It leaked the steering committee as a result of his refusal to sign.
Yeah.
I would want to challenge that.
No.
Sorry, Mr. Bachily, I believe that the Director of Finance clearly stated his reason for refusing to sign. He said in his statement, and I will quote the relevant line, he said, I stated my groundings that a single check for 900 was not prudent as per cash flow management, and the reasons advanced for visibility was weak in my own analysis as Director of Finance. Don't you think it was supposed to have drawn your attention and said, give me detailed analysis as to why you are refusing to sign this 900? Was it not supposed to have been your responsibility to ask for further reasons if you wanted to have clarity?
Yes, I agree to that.
Council.
Mr. Bachily.
Commissioner.
Yeah, if our memory serves us right, Mr. Kamara sat down there and said it was Friday, jury closing time, and then he didn't see the need or the urgency why he should be sign a check of 900,000. It was Friday, and he didn't see the need or the expenditure or the reason why he should sign a check during that time, and it was on a weekend. So he needed more strong reasons for him to sign that check, but the reasons advanced to him were not enough. That was his very words he said when he sat there where you're sitting.
Council, please proceed.
Okay, I thought there was a question. Now, Mr. Bachily, the issue here is the steering committee was disbanded, if you want to say, because of the refusal to sign checks by Mr. Modo Kamara. Was that done by you or the mayors?
We had a meeting, first of all, in
had a meeting?
In the mayor's office.
Who was present?
We had a meeting, myself, I think the team, if I could recall, the project team.
Yes.
And some of the few officials were there.
Can we have minutes of this meeting?
No, that's not a recorded meeting.
That's an informal meeting.
Informal meeting.
Why would you have an informal meeting about millions of dollars?
You know, no,
why?
that is relating to the steering committee. Dissolution of the steering committee.
You should have minutes of this.
Well,
it's important. Is it not important?
Yes, we should have had minutes of
So tell us, why would you not have minutes of meeting of that?
It was a meeting that no minutes were taken.
Why?
That was the situation then.
Why?
And I know, as you would rightly say, it's not proper.
I haven't said that yet.
It was not a good practice. I
haven't said that. I really haven't said that yet. But why, Mr. Bachily, would you have a meeting of that sort to change a whole steering committee without minutes? But that's fine. Let's move on. So in the minutes, what was discussed?
Yeah, it was about because in the end, I was also, as you know, the chairman of the meeting.
Yes.
Of the steering committee.
Right.
In the end, it became a bit cumbersome in the sense that, like we getting to agreements were so difficult because there are too many people on board.
Getting what?
Getting agreements on issues in the end became a bit difficult because we are too many,
Yes.
relatively too many.
Yes.
So the rationale was to, reduce in number and try to make it more
The
effective.
number of staff.
Members.
Because you could not get agreement.
Members.
You couldn't get members.
We're getting to agreements, I mean.
So you wanted to get to agreements quicker.
Yes.
And so how many was the number?
I cannot give
You should be in a
steady-
position. It's a very important part that we want you to tell us. What is the difference in numbers between the first and the second committee?
The second committee comprised of myself, Mohammed Cham was there,
Right?
Katim Toure was there,
Yes.
who else? Teacher Job was there,
Right.
the City Link coordinator.
You see, all the people you are mentioning are people who are heavily, seriously mentioned adversely by witnesses here regarding compromising to a great extent the financial regulations. But go ahead.
And I think we had, at some point, Issa Hasso came as the procurement man.
Right. So it is in that meeting you decided.
Mr. Bachily, please speak up. We are not hearing you.
Sorry. Yeah, I think Issa Hasso
Right.
was brought in for procurement matters.
Prepare us a list. When we come back next, we want you to give us a list
Yeah,
of the first and the second
All right, okay.
steering committee members. Was the mayoress present?
When we were discussing the dissolution of the
Yes.
steering committee?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Now, was the mayoress always present for the steering committee meetings?
No. Just,
Why would she be present in this one?
yeah, because she initiated, the idea of downsizing it.
Okay. Who advised her to downsize it?
I heard, as she told me, it was a former finance minister.
Finance minister.
Yes.
Downside the steering committee, the
Yes.
steering committee meeting. Who suggested that the finance director should be removed? Why?
Like I told you before,
I'm still listening.
that, like,
He
Yeah.
refused to sign checks.
Mr. Bachily, please speak up. I did not hear the last part, what you said.
sorry, man,
Can you please repeat that question so that I can hear what he said?
Yes, Chair.
Yes.
Who suggested the finance director be removed?
I took the initiative
Why?
because I thought that we had finance manager seconded from council to the project, and also the finance director himself seated in the steering committee at the same time.
And everyone agreed.
Yeah.
Was the finance director present in that meeting?
No, he was not present.
So you called in a clandestine way a meeting discussing the affairs of the finance director of council, in whose responsibility, of course jointly with you, but in whose primary responsibility is to manage the finances of council. You oust that person from decision making when it comes to finance. You think you have that power, Mr. Bachily?
Can I answer to the question?
Absolutely.
Okay. I did not do anything clandestine in this case, in the sense that, like I told you, we were summoned by the mayor to our office to talk about, like this existence of the first steering committee meeting and the need to downsize it to make it more effective.
Right. But the
So-
people you are reducing, they should be present.
That's what happened.
The people you are reducing, were they present? No.
No, they are not present.
No, exactly.
They are not present.
They were not present. The people that were reduced, were they notified? No,
No.
they were not notified. That is clandestine way. It's a getaway of doing things. You understand that? Did you have minutes of meetings? No.
No.
You see, that's the clandestine part of it. So you now know why I said it's a clandestine way of doing things?
Yes.
Exactly. That is the issue. So it is like you call meetings for people that are like-minded, those who will ordinarily agree, because the rest would not agree, and you need to arrive to an agreement at a very quick process to get things going. And so you have identified the ones who will ordinarily not agree, who may have an independent opinion. They will not be invited in the meeting. And you have a meeting and get their names out. Mr. Bachily, is that proper?
No, it's not proper.
Thank you. Now, the financial manual 504 reads, the Director of Finance is directly responsible for the control of expenditure. He is personally responsible for the control of all votes and liable for any unauthorized expenditure of council. He or she shall ensure the following: that the expenditure of council shall be within the approved estimates, that all payments made must follow due process as stated in this chapter. You see how serious it is what you have done together with the mayors and whosoever was in that team. You now realize you didn't factor all this in before?
No.
Yeah. But now you realize and appreciate the seriousness?
Yes.
Yes. So for all the monies that were expended, without this man being present, trust me, we are lawfully done. Oh, sorry, unlawfully done. Illegally done. It violated the law, Mr. Bachily. That's what it does. Because there is no law that gives you, neither you nor the mayor, has the power to say the finance director who is duly appointed by the competent authority to be in charge of the votes of council. You don't have the power to say he cannot be in charge and you get somebody else. No. You don't have that power, Mr. Bachily. I'm sorry, but I have to tell you this so that we all learn from it and we move on. The idea is, I refuse to accept that you guys did it because you did not know. To my mind, in relation to the investigation we have gathered, it was done because then people can further their fraudulent practices to mismanage the funds of council, because someone is seen to be a hindrance to that. Do you understand? Do you understand that?
I heard.
Good. Now, this will bring us to, and feel free to respond to any of those. I wouldn't ask you because you will say no. You see, when we mention fraud, people will jump and say, I was never part of it. But
no, no, lead counsel.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to come up with those arguments, because you know the reason why is that everybody is welcome to come up with their own understanding of situations.
Right.
That is something which is
Right.
imperative. But what I'm saying here is,
Yes.
I will not have no doubts in terms of accepting if certain practices were not put in place in certain situations.
Yes.
I would dare not do that. I will not get into those things.
Mr. Bachily, I know.
What I'm saying here is, at the same time too, some of the statements that have been made here, we'll understand, is from people who are having their own understanding of things. But then, notwithstanding, if you look at the profile of the project, it's like we are still going through the process. Things are requested from the project, brought to the council, and then all the necessary needful things are done before the payments are made. Oh. Especially if it's regards to, for example, things like I say, procurement. I first started explaining to you what happened. Some of the few projects, some of the few activities that were executed by the project. Right. We went to the point of seeing that, look, if we were to ever to go to institutions like maybe the FPACs also, what are we going to say if they ask us how come all these procurements, running into the millions, did not go to the GPPA? And we made sure that in collaboration with our partners, we put it to them. And then we came up with a policy, a joint policy, the two groups, to make sure that henceforth, after the sheds were erected at the beach, we will make sure that all procurements, for example, are GPPA compliant. And this has been done.
Mr. Bachily, you see,
this has been done.
When you talk, it will, anyone listening to you will want to believe that perhaps you were someone that was employed within a year of the project as CEO. Within a few months, you may be highly educated, but then you had to familiarize yourself with situations. We are talking about someone who had been in this position for 23 years. Not 23 days.
Yep.
Not 23 months. 23 years and counting. And then someone who is managing funds, project funds, not for the first time, several instances. Someone who is familiar with the accounts of council and how they are to be managed. Someone who understands the financial manual, the act, the Finance and Audit Act 2004. That is the degree to which we hold you. So don't talk any less of yourself, even in the most difficult times, because you, Mr. Bachily, you are not a rookie in this. So I will not draw myself to the statements to suggest that perhaps in the beginning we may not know, but now as the project goes on, then we realize we have to follow. No, 23 years ago, you knew you were to follow regulation, especially when you were going up, climbing the ladder all the way, to have decades of experience in this. So let's forget that apart. But again, your explanation is hard. Commissioners have heard you. They will consider your explanation regarding as to why you made this, some procedures may be disregarded, and they will make determination to that effect. Is that fair enough?
Very fair.
Yeah, I am not convinced, but they may be convinced. But we look at you're familiar with the EU Ostend project audit report for 1st January 2020 to 31st April 2024. The project was audited, correct?
Yes.
Do you have a copy?
There are two sets of auditing that was done.
The first?
You had the international auditors, and then you had the national auditors.
Can you provide us with the one for the international auditors?
Yeah.
Mr. Bachily?
Yes.
In that one, the national audit for the project,
Yeah.
mobile phones were procured. You recall this? In 2020 and 2022.
Yes.
And the total is $259,000 from the project funds.
Yeah.
Now, was this in the budget?
This is one of the areas that I mentioned to you.
Were mistakes?
No, I mentioned to you that those procurements, including that of the phones,
Yes.
they were not done based on GPPA rules.
Okay.
They were done based on the so-called PRAC rules.
Which says what? It's not a so-called PRAC. Just say the PRAC rules.
Which we did not understand.
What does the PRAC rule say?
I'm not familiar with the PRAC rules.
But what procedure did you follow in the PRAC rules?
They went, they even single-sourced it, I think.
You, the CEO, you, not they, you.
The project team.
No, you.
So when it came to my my desk, I approved it.
You are not familiar with the Prague rules.
Yes.
What documents were you shown before you approved it?
I was shown the request they made
Yes, from
the project team.
how many requests? From the project team. Yeah, now the invoices. What part of the Prague rules they tell you it should be followed? It has to be discussed. You are the chairman.
Yes, no. It's like it was not brought to us in the form of a steering committee.
Okay.
It was a request that just came from them that they needed phones.
Yes.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, laptops, something like that.
Now you did not follow any rules, both the Prague rules and the GPA.
Because it was single source, as I could see.
Yeah, so no rules were followed.
Yes.
So let's not talk about Prague rules.
I cannot say whether I cannot talk about the Prague
You
rules.
see, we only discuss things you can prove. So you think people have tried it here. We adopted the Prague rules. Now, what were the Prague rules that you adopted? What did the Prague rules say? Where are the documentations along those lines? Where are the forms that you have filled? Was it done?
That is exactly, lead counsel, what I'm trying to explain here.
Yes.
If it, for example, was the case of a GPPA procurement,
Right.
even if it's like based on single sourcing,
Yes.
I would straight away recognize
Yes.
the necessary documents that were needed
Right.
to have it go through.
Correct.
But in the case of a park procurement,
Right.
all what I could see was that
Yes.
an invoice was brought,
Yes.
description of what they wanted,
Yes.
and in what quantities.
Yes.
That is what was brought.
So it's safer to say no rules were followed. Were rules followed?
Okay.
Any procurement rule followed?
Okay, I can agree in saying that, in the sense that I don't know the park rules at all.
Prague rules were not followed, my friend.
I don't know them.
They were not followed. Someone must have advised you, just say we follow the Prague rules. No, Prague rules were not followed. This is investigation. The next logical question would be, what were those rules?
If I give you the case of the coconuts,
Right. No. Forget the coconut. Let's not confuse ourselves. Let's stick to the mobile phones. One at a time.
no, the reason why I'm trying to do that is to give you an understanding
Okay, say it again. Go ahead.
of what I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay, like in the case of the coconuts,
Yes.
though still a bit different from the GPPA rules.
Yes.
But there I saw different
Yes.
different suppliers,
Yes.
and some explanatory notes were made.
Yes.
For example, because I have that, maybe I could subsequently bring it over. You see what I'm saying. But then still, we were not very familiar with it.
Mr.
Because they're a bit different from the rules of
You
the
follow
GPPA.
any procurement rules, Prague rules or GPA rules
But-
in
but-
this mobile phone?
In a sense, if you ask me that question, I will tell you then, yes, I'll agree with you then. No, in those instances, then no rule was followed. Neither this one nor that one.
Easy. Then we move on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, easy. Then we move on. You see, I am not in the position to say you did not follow. But I can tell you, you did not follow. If you say we have followed, then I will say, where is the evidence? You see how investigation works? It could be simple. It could be very simple. So where you know, you cannot back it up. If I were you, no, let's not just go there. Let me just admit that it was not done. We move on, because I will ask that it be produced. That's the issue.
But, late counsel, I give you a promise in the beginning that I will not.
Be truthful.
I will not thank you.
I trust that,
I'll be
Mr.
truthful
Bachily.
all along the way.
I trust that, and I have seen you giving us truthful answers even in the most difficult times, and it's been appreciated. And we hope you continue doing that in the most difficult times ahead.
Thanks.
As well. You see, that to me, that's the character of a man. Where you've gone wrong, you have gone wrong. You say it, we move on. Yes. You can't be unfair twice, breaking the rule once, and now wanting to mislead the commission again. So we appreciate that. Now, Mr. Bachily, $259,000 is for mobile phones. We have for instance, 29 May 2020, voucher number 16, the Bohel Technologies were paid for purchase of mobile phones for project staff. It didn't say how many amount that was paid. It's $120,000. The list goes on, and this is what makes up the amount. Now, how sure are we that you are not buying phones at a very expensive price?
Based on the value for money criteria,
Yes.
that was defeated.
How sure are you that the ones that are buying the phones did not really have a kickback from it?
You're right, I might not be too sure.
Exactly. That's the issue. So it's a possibility, right?
I might not be too sure.
It's a possibility.
Very.
Hmm?
Very,
Exactly.
very possible.
Yes. So it says again on page 49 that for the media coverage and other expenses of mayor's town hall meetings, it says that the audit realized that project funds amounting to $1,108,500 was incurred as media coverage and other expenses for mayor's town hall meetings held in 2022. This activity was not budgeted for in the project funds, correct?
It was not budgeted for, but it was sourced under the indirect costs.
What is an indirect cost?
The costs that are not directly associated towards the realization of the project.
Why would you incur indirect cost?
Like for example, building, like the structures that were being put up, those are directly related to the project.
Yes.
Things of that nature.
Yes. But why would you incur indirect expenditure?
But then in this case, the project coordinator that was in Austin,
Yes.
at some point came here. We had a meeting. Myself, the mayor, the coordinator himself, and the project coordinator and the manager. We had a meeting, and then the project coordinator from Austin, talked about the need to make use of the project's visibility, because by the end of the day, in those days, then the project was not as visible as it became later on. So
Where are the minutes of that meeting?
no, that was an informal meeting at the mayor's
An
office.
informal meeting can override budget allocations.
No, I'm not saying so.
So why would you base your expenditure on informal meetings and spending $1 million plus on the mayor's town hall meetings because it has been discussed as a floating idea?
Yes, because the coordinator from Austin, like I explained earlier on, touched about the need for the visibility of the project to be taken up more seriously.
What do you do when a particular expenditure does not or is not factored in a budget? What does the law say about that?
But like I explained, it was
Answer the
factored
question,
under the
Mr.
indirect cost.
Answer the question, Mr. Bachily. First, then you can always explain. I've never stopped you from explaining. The commissioners will not even allow me to do that. What do you do when a budget does not factor in a very important point in your mind in relation to certain expenditure?
But the visibility budget was factored in
That is
in the overall whatever projects, whatever.
No, you
budget.
said that indirect cost.
I'm talking about the I have problem.
Mayor's town hall.
The visibility.
That's what I'm talking about. It's indirect cost. You said to us it's not in the budget, it's an indirect cost.
Okay, maybe I explained it wrongly. I'm just saying that the visibility budget was the one we were talking about initially.
Mr. Bachily, the finding I have read to you is that the mayor's town hall expenditure is not in the budget. Is that a fact or false statement?
You mean the project budget?
Yes.
But there's an element of visibility in the project's budget. That's what I'm trying to explain.
Element of visibility.
Yes.
Guide us through it.
It was in the budget. It was mentioned in the budget.
Guide us through it. Waiting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was in the budget for the project.
No, but guide us through it. Do you have the budget with you?
No, I don't have it with me
Okay,
presently.
we want you to produce the budget.
Okay, I'll do so, definitely. And I'll highlight the visibility part of it.
Yes. We want you to provide us with the...
Sure.
Yes. Now, the town hall meeting is about the project?
The town hall meetings were both for the project and for service delivery by the Banjul City Council.
No, it's politics, my friend. It's politics, my friend. That's it. Where is the plan for the town hall meeting? Who were the speakers? What did they discuss? About the project? Provide us with the evidence.
No, can I come in?
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Bachily.
Right. Because like I told you, one of the things we discussed when the project coordinator from Austin came
Yes.
is like as part of the visibility, I have problems pronouncing this word. It's like it was suggested
Right.
that we need to have television coverage so that with this advanced technology, you know, even over there, they will see.
Mr. Bachily,
They
what
will
issues
hear
were
us.
discussed in the town hall meeting?
I'm coming.
What issues were discussed in the town hall meeting?
I separated it into two.
Okay. Number
I said
one,
one, it was about the project itself,
what about the project?
what the project was all about
Okay.
for
Two.
the people of Banjul to know.
Yes.
And then the second was service delivery
Okay.
by the BCC vis-a-vis the perceptions of the residents of
Who
Banjul.
were the speakers?
Different speakers.
Where are their speeches from the project side to sell out the project?
Yes, the project side, we had...
Where are the speeches, the discussions, the deliberations about the town hall meeting in relation to the project? Where are they?
we can get those things.
Mr. Bachily, see,
Because
if I were you, I will say it does not exist and we move on. Then if you say it exists, we will want to bring all the speech that was given in relation to the project. Do you have it?
But you ask me.
Do you have it?
So it's like you are asking for the evidences of the meetings being held.
In relation
Yes.
to
with the two areas that I've
No,
just
I am
told
not
you.
asking about 2 areas. I'm asking about the EU
project?
visibility. Whether you gave speeches regarding the EU issue in this town hall meeting, provide your speech.
Okay, we'll provide them.
Yes. You see, let me tell you my game plan, Mr. Bachily. You provide a speech, I will ask for the audio and for the TV because there are media coverage. You're just to allow you not to embarrass yourself. So the media, your speech must be in line with what was said.
No, lead counsel,
Yes, sir.
I think what I'm saying here, really, for me, I don't think it's difficult for anybody to understand.
All right.
What I'm saying here is, communication was into two aspects.
Yes.
One, about the project itself,
Yes.
and I told you categorically clear that the second one was to do with service delivery by the Banjul City Council vis-a-vis the perception of the residents. So it's not like I was reading speeches.
Mr. Bachily?
What normally is to, please
Yes.
allow me.
What normally?
Allow me. What normally used to happen, if it comes to, for example, the project, you had the communication officer
Right.
at times would give people update
Right.
of the project.
Right.
Mostly, initially, then the mayor
Right.
would also talk about service delivery issues
Not the project.
of the Banjul City Council.
Okay.
And some aspects of the project,
Some aspects of the project.
maybe overviews.
Overviews.
Yeah. And then,
This is more money from the project. Visibility, if it is in the budget, has to be for the project.
but I said so.
Yes. So now, Mr. Bachily, you have,
I divided into two.
Mr. Bachily, for instance, let me show you the attachment to this. It says, just for you to understand what I am talking about for the town hall meetings. You understand that? It will help you. Mr. Kamara, do you have a copy of this report I gave to Mr. Bachily? It says, for instance, for 14 February 2022, payment of cost of printing 300 T-shirts and at $250 is, you understand, and the banners as well. You paid an amount of $82,000. Now, what was printed on the T-shirts? Do you recall?
It's at this juncture, it will be difficult.
Was it about the project?
I would want to strongly believe that the project was some resemblance.
I'm not asking you about resemblance. Was the T-shirts about the project? The printing. You said these are televised.
That's the reason why I have told you categorically clear that.
Was the T-shirts about the project and the banners? Is it a yes or a no? You said you were truthful.
I'll remain so.
Now here you are.
But really,
with a direct question.
But at this juncture, I am a bit lost in terms of remembrance.
Mr. Bachily.
And I don't also want to forward a response which might not be true.
You and I
don't want us
Mr. Bachily, at least I know you, even for a day.
Yeah.
We are not friends, but I know you for a day. You think I would want to just make you say things and admit to things that may be a problem? I would not want to do that. Not for you, not for anybody. You understand that we all live here in this country. We're here as citizens of this country. What we are just doing is a job.
Yeah.
The least I will want is for you to answer any difficult question. I don't want to answer these questions myself. But that's the way it is, my friend. We say things as they are. If it is a spade, we call it a spade. People are elected and appointed in public office. They will be held accountable. That's how it works.
Sure.
Yes, that's how it works. So that's it. So if, for instance, I keep on calling the name of the Lord Mayoress, I will call it over and over again because I'm doing a job. And I will do it without fear or favor. Trust me. And that's the same goes to you or anybody else. Where these T-shirts or the banners have any relations with the project, you don't know. You can recall or you can recall?
I would want to believe that it did.
It did?
Yes.
Okay. Can you provide the evidence?
Okay. Try our best.
Can you do that?
Yes.
We have February, and again, when you come back is when we need this. When you come back is when we need your answer. When you come back,
okay, all right.
Is when we need your answer.
All right.
14 February 2022, SAP Multimedia and Consultancy. And by the way, you know, you have been accused as the area council, the city council, of favoring some businesses over others. Some like businesses who are competing for in procurement for awards are favored. You know, we will discuss this. For instance, Keba and Sons, the relationship that he had with the mayoress, living together for so many years. He testified here and admitted to several facts. So I just saw SAP Multimedia and my mind comes to that. But payments were made, it says, being payment for the cost of hiring logistical materials for the town hall meeting, $89,000. What kind of materials were these?
I think it involved the television, the television whatever, television groups.
Yes.
And also the giant screens.
Right.
Things of that nature.
Correct. The list goes on.
Yeah.
Kirfatu, they are paid $30 for being payment for the cost of live television streaming coverage for the mayor's second town hall meeting at Banjul Central. You know how many media outlets we have in this country? Did you give each of them a fair opportunity? Is it a yes or a no?
Yes.
Yes. No, you had just told us you didn't follow procurement in this.
Yes.
You gave them fair opportunity to compete.
Based on the given circumstances, then I don't think they were given fair opportunity.
Exactly. So who was making the decision as to whether we contact Kirfat and pay them $30,000? Who was making the decisions? Was it a joint decision by the contracts committee or the mayor's decision?
No, it was certainly not the contract committee.
So it was the decision of the mayors?
Yeah, I would say so.
Good. Thank you for your honesty as well. The list goes on and
And,
on.
and the PR, the PR people, Honorable Bai used to be there.
They testified. They testified under the circumstances in which they were operating. That, you know, for some of them, they were just there to hold the money, and they will receive instructions from the mayors as to who to pay and how much should be paid. Is that proper?
No.
Good. So that is what made up the $1,108,500. Yes, that's 18,383.8 euros. Decided by the mayors as to how it should be spent. Totally unlawful, correct?
Can you please kindly go back to the last statement that you just made?
Which part of the statement?
The one you just made.
And the figures.
Yes.
I said the figures in relation to the town hall meeting for this one is $1,108,500. That is the equivalent of $18,383.8 euros at the time. And I said, with respect to the disregard of procurement process, very totally unlawful. Should the mayors be engaged in procurement, Mr. Bachily?
No, under normal circumstances.
And you know, I asked you initially in the beginning, was the mayoress engaged in procurement? Was she engaged in procurement?
No, okay, I understand your point of view now more clearer than
yes,
before.
than before.
Yeah.
Now that's why I'm repeating it. I know you now understand it more clearly than before.
Certainly.
Now, was the mayoress engaged in procurement? Going by the facts I have shown you.
Yes, now I accept that.
Good. And was that proper?
No.
Good. Why did you allow it?
Well, you know, mostly because of the programs, these town hall programs, where she was instrumental.
Right.
In terms of the organizations.
Right.
So, like, I think recommending some of these media houses
Right.
was, I don't think was, on her side, I don't think was an issue. On our side, it's an issue, because even if she had proposed such media houses with any other given advantages, like, we should have been in a position to say that, okay, no, perhaps we should go this way before we finally secure the services of those.
True. She should also be in a position to know that she cannot meddle in procurement issues. That will be conflict of interest. Yeah. If you are appointed in the highest office in Banjul City Council, you should know. We assume you know. The presumption is you know. Is that not the case?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why some people cannot just cannot enjoy the benefit of the doubt. It's perhaps maybe cruel, but there are people, by virtue of their position, may not enjoy the benefit of the doubt in some circumstances. Now, we have another issue. Loans were issued to the steering committee of the project. You recall this?
Yeah, very well.
Explain to us the background.
As a committee, a project steering committee, we agreed to raise this money.
Yes.
I think it was about 33,000. Yeah, so we unanimously agree
Yes.
to have these monies paid across the board
Right.
for both the project team
Right.
and also for those of us who are serving on the steering committee.
Yes.
And then we eventually paid the first month,
Yes.
3,000 was deducted.
Yes.
And then subsequently, after the project steering committee was dissolved,
Right.
and we made, I think, we made a resolution that BCC will write to BCC, so that those of us whose balances were not cleared, the director of finance would do so. But that unfortunately did not happen.
Why?
It did not happen.
Why?
It wasn't paid.
Why?
It wasn't paid.
Why?
Council.
We have to talk about public funds. We want to know why it was not.
Yeah, we can, I don't want us to look as if we are hiding behind the fact that, we had written, because this, what I'm saying here, the meeting that where we took the resolution for the continuation of the deductions to be made.
Right.
I have those minutes.
Bring it up. But again.
But still, I just have to tell you the state of affairs.
Right.
The 30,000 was not cleared.
Was not clear.
No.
Was it really in line with regulation to award yourself these loans?
No.
It was not. Mr. Bachily, why would you do this?
It was peer pressure.
Peer pressure?
Yeah.
How do you explain that?
Because we had the Tobaski approaching. And then everybody was saying that maybe it would be a good idea if we could be given a loan, which we will repay back. This was the rationale.
So for you, the ones you just clearly admit, Mr. Bachily, I will just do the favorable and honorable thing to just move on to other issues. Unless there are questions that the commissioners may have, I will just move on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me just find out from Mr. Bachily. Mr. Bachily, is it true that at the same time, the same officers received an advance on their salaries for the same Tobaski? Because across the board, staff of BCC were granted salary advances. Is that correct?
You mean the mainstream staff members or those who are serving in the steering committee?
Yes.
You mean those who are serving in the steering committee?
I am asking you now.
Yeah, I mean, those were the ones that, got it.
No, my question is it true that the ones that were in the steering committee did also receive advances on their salary from BCC? Because it was given across the board to every staff. And the ones in the steering committee are also staff of BCC.
Yes.
They received it.
That's true, yes.
So you received double support.
Yes.
In other words, if I can put it that way, because you said it's peer pressure and support.
Yes.
So you received the loan and you received also BCC
1 by 6.
Yes. Advance.
Yes.
Thank you.
May I proceed?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Bachily, we have on page 64 of this report, a software, accounting software was procured. It's called the ANK Analytics Limited, that it was procured from. The amount paid is about $233,000, but the software was never delivered. You recall this?
Yes.
What was the issue?
The issue centered around the previous finance manager.
Yes, please proceed.
Of the project.
Yes.
I think initiated the need for that accounting software package.
Right.
But then subsequently, when she left, Mohammed Cham came as the new finance manager. And he said that based on the reporting modalities with Austin, he was not satisfied with using that particular software.
Right.
So it was sort of abandoned, and then he used another software package to suit the purpose for which he wanted to use the package.
So Mohamed Cham said he cannot use this software.
Yes, it's not in line with the reporting models.
Okay.
With the partners in Austin.
We will get him back when you testify next. He has given his evidence, but we'll get him back. He had confirmed that it was not delivered. He said some features, perhaps to his understanding, were not in line with what was needed.
Yeah.
But we will get him back, the finance manager Cham,
Yeah.
so that you may have a more clearer position when it comes to this. We also had an issue of
Council, I believe, is a convenient point to stop. We'll proceed tomorrow.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Bachily. So we'll
Thank
see
you,
you
ma'am.
tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
You rise.